Let's talk about NTR. Mercedes and NTR go together like chocolate in most things. But what exactly is the connection? And you might have experienced it without realizing it. Stick around, we have much to cover. If you travel to the deepest parts of the internet, you'll know that NTR is NTR'd, meaning to be taken or stolen, otherwise known as cheating, similarly known in the West as cuckoldry, or that chair in the corner of the hotel room. The best examples of this comes from the series Gundam Seed, where protagonist Kira Yamato does it 3 times. First to his friend Cy Argyle with his fiancée Flay Ulster, who became emotionally broken after the death of her father, and Kira was okay with Flay choosing him. Next, Kira stole the fiancée of his best friend Athrun Zala, going with the pop idol and political icon Lacus Clyne, but he didn't seem to really care, and eventually evened it out by getting with Kira's sister Kigali. So it's less a betrayal and more a trade-off. Finally, Shin Asuka had it the worst and was done almost as bad as G1 Hound, by getting his role as main character stolen from him in his own series. Eventually, it loops back around to Kira being put in the corner chair in the Gundam Seed Freedom movie. No, really, that's a main plot point of that film. But fortunately for him, Athrun helped pull him out of that chair like a good friend. Gundam Seed's only healthy. Well, surviving relationship is Mulaflaga and Maru Ramius, the only ship worth saving.
やっぱ俺って不可能を可能に。
But you know, there's something interesting to be noted about NTR. Did you know that NTR was originally popular with the men? Strange, I know. Or just ask any Spider-Man fan about Paul. That's plenty enough for them and doesn't need further explanation. But over time, it became much more targeted and popular with female audiences, featuring many romance novels revolving around this, where the woman leaves the man in her life for someone she deems more exciting and thrilling. It's why movies like Titanic and The Notebook were such hits with a predominantly female audience. The sad part is that anyone can be a victim to NTR, even the wealthy and celebrities. Look at Will Smith, the formerly most embarrassed man in the world, when Jada Pinkett Smith hooked up with her son's friend and admitted to it on a TV interview.
Keep my wife's name out your
Or the streamer, iDubbbz, whose escapades are so well known that he is the poster child for being in the corner cuck chair, the iDubbbz seat.
Our hairdresser walked up to us, who's also Ian's sparring partner, when we were waiting to get our hair cut, and he was like, "Ian, you're allowed to smile."
And most recently, Piers Morgan, who was exposed over a consistent humiliation ritual from his wife in ways worse than the other two. Morgan, who lectures how men should be, is subject to embarrassment by being exactly what men shouldn't be, thus showing that the rich don't get away with it as one might think.
A few pictures up here on the screen. And yes, these are 100% real. These are taken from his wife's Instagram account.
Speaking of wealth and high value, that leads us to Mercedes, more properly named Mercedes-Benz. They're a brand of high-end luxury cars from Germany, but early on were best known for sports and racing cars. As the name implies, they're a merger of 2 different groups, or companies. In the late 1800s, Carl Benz helped create what is widely considered the first gasoline-powered automobile, laying the foundation for modern motoring. This is the Benz aspect of the name. Benz was in direct competitions with Gottlieb Daimler's company, Daimler Motoren Gesellschaft. But by 1926, Benz's company merged with Daimler, officially forming Mercedes-Benz. The name Mercedes came from a race car commissioned by Emil Jelinek, named after his daughter. Emil was a wealthy automobile dealer, diplomat, and racer, plus one of Daimler's biggest customers. Emil's influence essentially led to the modern layout of cars we still use today. Throughout the 20th century, Mercedes-Benz became known for innovation by introducing ABS, airbags, and crumple zones.
Engineered like no other car.
They still create racing vehicles, but Mercedes focused more towards luxury as a symbol of their level of quality. However, when you hear Mercedes nowadays, there's usually some negative connotation around it, not because of the cars themselves, but the media surrounding it and the people who drive them. Initial D is the best example of this when Fujiwara fell victim to NTR when his high school crush, Natsuki Mogi, was seen together with another man, otherwise known as the Mercedes guy. The anime is actually the nicest version of this, because the live-action movie shows that they frequently visited love hotels. The original manga does the same, but also reveals the identity of who tipped me about the ordeal.
Did you know that Natsuki Mogi is taking money to date an older man who drives a Mercedes?
It was Shiraishi, Mogi's best friend, and daughter of the Mercedes guy.
It cost 30 grand to bang her. Your girlfriend's a whore.
You don't hear the term used in similar connotations to anyone else, at least to this degree. You hear a Mustang guy, you might think someone that likes fast cars but lacks actual skill. Or the GTR guy is someone who crashes their car a lot. Maybe when you hear of a Tesla guy, you can imagine someone weak or scrawny. But when you hear the term Mercedes guy, it's synonymous with NTR. In fact, there are multiple examples in initial D that can be referred to as the Mercedes guy of the relationship. Itsuki Takeuchi has Kazumi's ex when she chose to run back to him.
And it all goes boom. Man, it sucks to be him.
But a better example is Iketani, whose Mercedes guy was himself.
Now listen to me. She wasn't actually dating this guy. She liked him from a distance. It's just infatuation. Every teenage girl has a crush on an older guy at some point. It's what they do. No different than if she thought some guy from some TV show was cute.
And lastly, there was, as I was saying, to deal with NTR or to not be a cuck. Follow Fujiwara's example.
I'm trying to understand, but you're not making sense. You're like a different person.
Just stop following me. Oh, and good luck with your buddy in the Mercedes. Now leave me the hell alone.
When he found out, he dropped Mogi. He may have had feelings for her that over time she tried to prove herself a changed person, but he completely ended things romantically. This is the ideal way to go because in most situations, if you forgive the person right away, they lose respect for you instantly and will keep doing it. Most who stay in such toxic relationships do it out of ideology, weakness, or broken marriage laws. But don't stay in a relationship like that. Your peace should mean more to you than any financial stability you may have. Money won't do you any good if the stress and shame kills you. Move on, find someone who can love, appreciate, and respect you. You deserve it. Or take a break and build yourself up on whatever goals, hobbies, or interests you have. Consider being more like Keisuke in that regard. You'll be respected for doing so. Not just by your future partner, but for yourself. Avoid becoming a joke like Morgan, as you'll lose all respect from everyone.
He's my wife's son.
Giving up your dreams, goals, or hobbies can risk you becoming miserable and regretting everything afterwards. Much like what happened to Fujiwara's father in the initial D movie, leading him to drink.
Sometimes one decision can change your entire world. That's how it is in racing, and in life, too. But not everybody can figure out what the consequences will be. Like you, right? Who knew that your wife would leave you?
But it goes beyond just here. All of us to some degree have experienced the Mercedes guy treatment or seen it in other media. For example, in the live-action Michael Bay Transformers movies, they included a silver Mercedes who happens to be Soundwave, who steals Carly from Sam, the Mercedes-Benz SLS-AMG. And his very design is pure Mercedes guy energy. Look at him, he's silver instead of blue. There are certain unwritten rules of Transformers. Optimus needs a faceplate. Anyone named Starscream will betray someone. Shockwave should never have two eyes. And Soundwave should always be blue. And that's just it. This particular Mercedes has a blue option. Adding insult to injury, we have a blue Mercedes in that same movie. The Mercedes-Benz E550 sedan in the form of Q. Someone whose name is mixed up as Wheeljack even to the Hasbro teams, even when he's just called Q in the movies. They could have easily had the metallic black option so you wouldn't have both him and Sideswipe be silver. And on top of it, the designers went with a Doc Brown and Einstein look to be a James Bond reference, meaning that instead of a decent Wheeljack head, we ended up with Doc Brown-Ein Q, a nightmarish face design only to be outdone by Pablo Jack years later. And they could have done the black exterior as an Armada Wheeljack reference. He was such a wasted opportunity and failure in design. There's also Cybertron Hotshot's vehicle mode, the Chrysler ME412 that I previously covered. How one of the most innovative supercars of its time was scrapped by Mercedes for something with less than memorable accomplishments. Oh, but it goes beyond the Transformers. Look at Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. What car was it that hit Hans FD? That's right, it was a Mercedes. It was truly a terrible and tragic moment in the film, Han Solo's death, completely unpredictable and by accident. That's all it was. A random accident from street racing in a busy city. Over media, the car in a good series is often viewed as a character of their own, and depending on how they're used or cared for, are seen as the hero or villain car. In Initial D, the 8.6 is the best example of the underdog hero car being so outdated and underpowered at the start of the series, and the 8.6 in MF Ghost continuing its legacy, meaning that the 8.6 GT is a legacy character. Yes, that's how you properly use that term. Brian's Supra was a hero car. The Land Evo in the early Fast and Furious films were hero cars too. Herbie as the VW Beetle is a hero car. The old Camaro Bumblebee was an underdog hero car when compared to the high-powered Mustang police car that was Barricade. It truly felt like these vehicles were their own character outside of being the literal car. In the Transformers case, it enhances who they are or represent, much like Optimus as a semi-truck or fire truck. The vehicle and what role they play matters. Then you have cars like the Mazda RX-7 series, which is the cool car. It can be played as a hero, antagonist, or rival car, yet is always seen in a positive light regardless. See Dom's or Han's RX-7s. The FD they drove helped elevate their status and cool factor. Even my FC, with its final boss status in the Initial D series, became heroic when stopping the Land Evos of the Emperors. Yes, the RX-7 rotaries were the true heroes. Yet a car like the Land Evo needs the publicity to look good because of their reputation, or at least their drivers. It's like a mustache-twirling villain saving a puppy. But with Mercedes, their portrayal as being the main protagonist's car is just that, a car. They mainly don't come off as heroic. You may see a hero drive a Mercedes like Batman in Zack Snyder's Justice League, but it's just not a hero car. Clint Eastwood's 1990 film, The Rookie, is quite possibly the best example of Mercedes in a hero role being the detective's car of choice. Then comes the Michael Bay Transformers films with Q from Dark of the Moon and Drift from The Last Knight. And even then, the vehicles themselves feel more passive and don't play as exciting roles. Look at the highway scene from Dark of the Moon. This elevated the already popular Camaro, Concept Corvette, and 458 Italia of B, Sideswipe, and Dino. Q's main role in his vehicle mode was at the start of the film, and even then it was given cover for the other Autobots to transform and do something. With Drift, he was sidelined a good portion of the movie, and you hardly see him in his Mercedes vehicle mode, which he only picked up because Bugatti ended the license of the Veyron. Otherwise, they're portrayed in a negative light. With all this, there are really 3 movies where Mercedes actively plays the heroic role and isn't just a prop. That means the Michael Bay Transformers films had more instances of making Mercedes look heroic than anyone else. Let that sink in.
I will kill you, flying rats.
At least their PR isn't as bad as Jaguar. Maybe you know other examples of Mercedes being the hero car. It'd be good to bring them up in the comments, or if you had your own Mercedes guy experience. We also have a Discord to further discuss those topics. Now that you understand why Mercedes is not just seen as the villain brand, but a reprehensible one with NTR, it's something to be more aware of whenever you see a Mercedes around. Sometimes the Mercedes guy might not drive a physical Mercedes, but drives one at heart. Also be careful of people who drive a Lexus. They tend to have a sense of superiority and ego like Ferrari drivers had in the 2000s. Or anyone on a Land Evo team, because you know they're up to something shady acting like they're better than everyone else. Remember to especially be careful of anyone driving a French sports car, especially if they often park around schools.